Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel and the audios we try and do on a regular basis around here. Hopefully, you are doing well in this new year. In any event, um, this particular audio is going to be about the dangers of utilizing the silent treatment and the reasons why it can be detrimental. There's about 6 or 7 things I want to go through in that process. If you need life, relationship, business coaching, or entertainment coaching, please feel free to reach out. You can do that through one of three ways: through here on YouTube, through the website in the YouTube description box, on Twitter at PO Perception. Anyway, we want to help you in 2021 make you stand out in this year, and coaching is a great way to do just that. Anyway, the first thing is using the silent treatment is a great way to devalue the connections you have with other people. When a person is treated with silence, they feel as though they have, even if it's unspoken, ultimately done, said, or behaved in a manner that is wrong. Now that force of indecision, that force of indiscretion, that force of feeling incorrect, can make a person feel as though they are less valuable than they were before the silent treatment was used. This is detrimental to the pathway of the user. Lots of people think that if they use the silent treatment, they're actually taking space, but it's simply saying, I need a minute, or we need to talk about this later, I'm becoming upset, or some other indication that there needs to be a break in the conversation before going silent is necessary, because the silent treatment without uh, that preamble of explanation also leads to a control mechanism for most people. That is, a person feels as though they are less valuable than they were in the past by in terms of being controlled. So a person who is controlled, a person who feels the need to be controlled is or that they are being controlled, not the need to be controlled, that they're being controlled is ultimately a person who is going to eventually revolt and draw back emotionally. Now, the person who uses the silent treatment to control another person doesn't have the greatest ability to communicate and orate or speak their feelings, thoughts, emotions, and opinions in a way that builds bonds of identity and strength. And so, what begins to happen is the use of a silent treatment approach actually creates the bond of dependency for approval on the other person, because they start to feel like, well, if he or she went silent, that means I'm in the wrong. That means I have no control over how things turn out unless I'm in agreement with this person, and resentment comes along. Now, the rejection that comes through the use of the silent treatment is also dangerous. A person who is iced out of a conversation, cut off from having an opinion that is different from the person who is using the silent treatment, often will in fact feel rejected. Therefore, the ability to desire to have one's own opinion that is different from the person who's enacting the silent treatment makes a person feel rejected, which means they're less likely to express themselves in the future, ultimately creating a more controlled and manipulated relationship that is ultimately one that will become one sided, and eventually the person who is iced out of conversations using the silent treatment on a continual basis may actually seek their emotional support elsewhere. The next is it affects self esteem. So, even if there's the process of talking through the negative emotions related to kind of icing someone out of a conversation, that person who is cut off and shut down, so to speak, metaphorically, will eventually start to feel if they are a worthy person to be loved, valued, considered, their opinion considered, their thoughts considered, and all of that. So that eventually leads to the person questioning their own value and their own worth, thereby creating self esteem issues. Now, I understand that for most people, self esteem or the idea of self esteem should be regulated within oneself, hence, it's called self esteem and not group esteem. But the majority of individuals, especially in Western cultures, struggle to have a self identity that is not intrinsically tied to the approval of others, which creates problems. The next problem with the silent treatment is that it can cause physical pain. So, for people with chronic pain related issues, everything from migraines to stomach related issues to arthritis or other chronic pain related challenges can have a flare because of the stress of being iced out of a conversation. The the anticipation of the silent treatment happening again can also lead to the fear of rejection, creating anxiety, stress, panic attacks, and other mental effects, even after the argument that incited the original treatment is over and resolved. The next is it kills the desire of the person who has been victimized with the silent treatment to be involved in the relationship in the long term or medium term nature. While one may be able to get through it for a short span of time, the likelihood that one can get through it without having long term effects can be negatively impacted because if a person feels like their opinion will eventually not be relevant anyway, they're going to eventually, as mentioned earlier in this conversation, lead to the thought that maybe they just need to go somewhere else to get their emotional needs met, and that ultimately will be detrimental to the foundation of the relationship as a whole. So until next time, I encourage you keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.